Hi everyone, welcome back to our 3-month course where we learn 100 essential adverbs in just 5 minutes a day. I know it might seem tough at first, but stick with it. This is my secret technique for leveling up your English. Listening to English explanations will boost your listening skills and your vocabulary. So, let's get started. Today's adverb is barely, but before we dive in, let's start with a quick quiz. Ready? Which of these sentences best describes the meaning of barely? 1. I almost missed the bus. 2. I always catch the bus. 3. I completely missed the bus. Take a moment to think about it. The correct answer is 1. I almost missed the bus. Now let's learn what barely means. Barely means almost not or just enough. It describes a situation where something happens only by a very small margin. Imagine you almost miss your bus, but you get on just in time. You can say, I barely caught the bus. This means you caught the bus, but it was very close. You almost missed it. Let's think about the feeling of barely. It means something almost didn't happen. Imagine you're running to catch a bus. You see the bus leaving, but you run faster and get on just in time. You can say, I barely caught the bus. It's a relief, but it was really close. Remember, we place barely before the main verb in our sentence. For example, I barely have time. So when you're almost out of time, you can say, I barely have time. Let's look at some common ways we use barely. We often use it to describe situations where something almost didn't happen or just happened. It's used to express that something is just enough, or by the smallest margin. Imagine you studied very little for a test, but you passed. You can say, I barely passed the exam. This means you passed, but it was very close. You almost didn't pass. Think about dinner time when you're not very hungry. If you eat just a little bit, you can say, she barely ate anything at dinner. This means she ate very little food. Picture arriving at a meeting just in time. You can say, we barely made it to the meeting on time. This means you arrived on time, but it was very close. You almost were late. If you almost didn't finish your homework, you can say, I barely finished my homework. This means it was very close. You almost didn't finish. For example, you might have finished only 90% of it just before the deadline. Let's compare barely with a similar word. Just. Barely means almost not, while just means exactly or recently. For example, if you almost didn't finish your homework, you can say, I barely finished my homework. This means it was very close. You almost didn't finish. But if you finished your homework a moment ago, you would say, I just finished my homework. This means you finished it very recently. Now it's your turn. In the comments, write a sentence using barely. I'll read your comments and give feedback. To sum up, barely means almost not or just enough. Use it to describe situations where something happens only by a small margin. Keep practicing, and you'll master these adverbs in no time. See you in the next lesson. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more lessons. Bye for now.